Okay, so today I'm going to explore that recurring theme we see in Western movies where one guy challenges another guy to a gunfight, but because he's the challenger, he has to let the other guy go first, and then he lets the other guy go first, and then he outdraws him and shoots him. Or sometimes it goes the other way, whatever, but usually the guy that goes first loses in the Western movies. So we're going to explore that and see if there's any truth in that at all. And I don't really know what the answer is. I think it varies, of course, on the skill. If two people had equal skill and one starts first, he's going to win first, But if one person had a lot more skill, then he could start second and still win. But anyway, we're going to explore that, and we're going to talk about reaction time. And I have a shot timer here. I'm just going to show you a fast reaction time. I'm going to hit the button here. When the beeper goes, I'm going to thump the timer, and I'm going to react to that and thump the timer. So it takes a certain amount of time for your brain to react to anything. Okay, so here we go. It'll go off in a couple of seconds. That was 0.15 of a second. And if I worked on that, I could get it down to probably 12 or 13. The limit of human function somewhere around 10 or 11, a tenth of a second. But that's not realistic for a real life scenario where you're going to react to someone else drawing their gun. Because first of all, when I did that just now, I already made the decision what I was going to do. The only question was, when was I going to do it, not what was I going to do. In a gunfight, if the other guy doesn't answer the challenge, he turns and walks away, then you can't shoot him, right? So I think a realistic time probably would be close to a second to actually make that decision to, okay, that guy's drawing on me. He isn't just shifting his weight. He's not swatting a fly with his hand. He isn't scratching his leg. He's actually going for his gun, and I have to react and shoot him in order to save my life. And we're talking about Western movies, they're not self-defense anyway. But I think a full second would be probably realistic. And even someone that's really pumped up and is just sure they're going to draw and just makes that decision really, really quickly would probably be 3/4 of a second, or at the very fastest would be half a second to actually interpret someone's movements that, yes, he's actually drawing his gun. He's not doing something else. This is for real. I gotta draw my gun. I think a half second would be really, really, really fast. So I got my friend Buckskin Joe there. Hi, Buckskin. He's gonna give us a hand today. He's gonna be the other guy, and so we're shooting blanks. And I'm gonna challenge him to a gunfight, and then he's gonna start first. And in editing, I'm gonna adjust it so that I'm starting a half second later and 3/4 of a second later, and we might do one a full second later. We'll just see how it goes, but we'll do at least a half second and 3/4 seconds. So let's see what happens. Okay, and one more thing. We're going to give Buckskin Joe a cross-draw holster. So he'll have a disadvantage in the draw, but he'll have an advantage in being able to start first. Hey, Buckskin Joe. I say this town ain't big enough for the both of us. Okay, man. Sorry about that. I'll leave town. Hey, where you going? I don't like the way you part your hair. Okay, I'll shave my head and I'll leave town, okay? Hey, get back here, boy. Listen, I don't like you. And I say you're yellow. Okay, so we did 2 runs, and like I said, I'm going to edit it so that Buckskin Joe gets a half-second advantage on one and a 3/4 second advantage on another. And I don't know how it's going to turn out. I don't really know. So, okay, well I've seen that in editing now, and I edited it so that the first gunfight I had a half-second reaction time, which would be barely possible, pretty unrealistic, but very fast. And even then, Buckskin Joe easily beat me. Then we did a more realistic reaction time of about 3/4 of a second, and of course Buckskin Joe beat me again. And then in the third scenario was the most realistic, and it was a 3/4 of a second reaction time, but Buckskin Joe missed and I didn't. And that actually happened. It happened a lot in Old West gunfights. It happens modern day gunfights too. And then just for fun, on the fourth scenario, I matched the time that I did on when I thumped the timer of 0.15, which is a completely unrealistic reaction time in a real gunfight. But I did it just to see what would happen, and I did beat Buckskin Joe on that draw, but it was really close. So you can see that in reality, what's portrayed in the Western movie isn't very realistic. If the guy that draws first is just reasonably competent, doesn't fumble his draw, and hits the other guy, he'll win almost every time. It would be really hard for him to lose. But still, we enjoy that in the Western movies because it's an exciting way to tell the story, and we wouldn't want it any other way. The draw on the cross draw that I did for Buckskin Joe was about, I didn't time it, but I'm pretty sure it was about 1.25 or 1 1/4 seconds, maybe 1.3, something like that. And the draw I was doing with my fast draw speed rig was about 3/4 of a second. So that was the margins I was working with. And anyway, I thought it was fun. It was fun to explore this, to just see, experiment with that idea, you know, that we see so many times in the Western movies. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you join me for my next long video.